Hello everybody, it's Anne from Stampin'Up. Welcome to another card making day here in Simcoe, Ontario, where I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. If you live in Canada and you don't have your own demonstrator, you can shop with me. You can reach me at StampsNTea@gmail.com, or my demonstrator website is StampsNTea.stampinup.net. So today we're going to use more product from the new September to December mini catalogue. The suite we're going to use today is called Winterly Treetops, and it's on page 31, I believe, in the September to December catalogue. Gorgeous products in it. Let me turn the camera down and I'll show you everything that's in the suite. So what we have in this suite of products, a suite just means it has one orderable number. If you use the suite number, you order everything in the package. You don't have to enter the items individually when you're ordering. So what we have in the package is the DSP, the stamps, the dies, which are inside here, the stamps and the dies, beautiful dies, and the gems. These are called Earth Tones gems, and we get some Earth Tones twine in Night of Navy, Garden Green and Pecan Pie. The birchwood, the beautiful birchwood folder, the one we used I think last week. This one here, it's a really large folder. That's in the suite as well. So you get a really good selection. You get everything you need except for stamp pads in the suite. So let me put that out of the way, make some room, and we're going to make a card. Now I'll show you the DSP in the paper. This is one of the sheets, and this is the sheet we're going to cut up today to make our card, but I'll show you that in just a second. The other sheets, where's my opening, or you've got some wood grain birch paper, you've got birch trees with lots of little birds in, and on the back you've got that kind of looks like pussy willows to me, and little flowers and things. You've got some big birds, and the dies cut these birds out, the single bird. And on the back is a beautiful soft pool party. This another sheet here with beautiful birds and acorns and pine boughs, green stripes on the back. This one, you have another die that cuts out the two birds together and the single bird, beautiful. And you've got a lovely cross hatch on the back, and you've got the birch again, and this page we're going to use, and that's it. All beautiful papers, and they all work together. So let me show you first of all this piece of paper. It's 12 by 12, and it's sort of reverse, top and bottom. Okay, so you could cut it straight across the middle, which would give you two halves. If you cut it into your 4-inch pieces for your card fronts, you'd get 6 card fronts out of it, but you would have a lot of space here, I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure from the end of the paper, bottom edge, let's put this way, bottom edge to the top of this bird, because this bird here is the highest point on this half of my paper. So this bird, it's about 5 inches from the edge of the paper to the top of the bird. I'm going to cut this paper 5 inches, 5 by, let me think, 5 by 3 3/4, good for a card front. I'm going to cut it off just slightly higher than 5 1/8 maybe. And then I'll get 3 card fronts out of this. I think today we might use, I don't know, this one maybe. One. We're not going to use the top one. We don't need this today. So let me bring in my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut this paper off. I'm going to say 5 1/4. That's going to give me lots past the bird. I'm going to cut that down just a tad. I'm going down to 5 1/8, because if I have about 2 inches in the center, that is something I can use to put on the flap of my envelope. Maybe use it as a strip on the side of a card or a strip inside a card. So let me just cut that off right there. So now if I turn this and I cut this into 4-inch pieces, I'm going to get 3 card fronts out of this 1/2 of a sheet of paper. So there's one. Let's look at 4 inches again. Now you want to try, you don't want to cut the birds off if you can help it. That's going to be close. Oh, but it worked. It's right on. And there's 3. So you've got 3 pieces of DSP that you can use for card fronts there. Which one are we going to use? I think we'll use this one. Really doesn't matter, they're all going to make lovely card fronts. So I'll tell you what else I've got to make this card in my envelope here. I have some crumb cake for my card base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. It's going to be a side fold card. I've got a piece of the birch bark DSP, and it's 5 1/4 by 4. My piece that I've just cut, which is just slightly smaller than 5 1/4 by 4. A piece of basic white 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside, and a scrap of pecan pie for my sentiment. We're going to do some heat embossing, so we're going to have heat embossing tools, and we've got the twine from the suite and the gems from the suite. So what do we want to do first? Let's do the heat embossing, and then we can put those supplies away. So I need this piece here, and I'll bring in my little tray with all my bits in. So I'm using the new heat embossing powders from the catalogue. They're called Wow. Now, something I questioned, and I googled it and looked it up. Next to the item number, it has an O on this one. If I look at this one here, it has a T next to it. It seems like all of the powders have an O or a T. I'm going to see, can I bring it up? Let me see. Yeah, you see you've got an O there next to the number, and on this one you have a T. What it means is, if it's O, it's opaque. That means it's a solid color. If it's got the T, it's translucent, and you could almost see through it. So let me put that one out of the way, because I don't want to mix them up. So you either get a solid image, or you get you wouldn't be able to see through it on a card, but it wouldn't be as thick and solid looking as the opaque. So I'm taking my embossing buddy here, and I'm just going to rub it across my cardstock. I'm not going to pounce on it, I'm just rubbing it across just to catch the static on that piece of card. I have a clothespin to pin that to my card. I've got my Versamark pad there, and I've got a stamp that says thinking of you always, and I'm just inking that up really well. Now this piece of card is a scrap. It's about 1 inch by, I don't know, 4 inches. I'm not going to stamp right to the top or bottom of the card, or right to the left or right. I'm going to go kind of closer to the right hand side, but about the center, and you'll see why when I put this on the card. So let's put that out of the way. Where did I put the embossing powder? Here it is. So we're just gonna shake some embossing powder over there, tap what we can back into the cup, set that to the side, fold this piece of paper up, and pour the powder right back into the pot. Just so. Oops, we got some left. Because this stuff's kind of expensive and you don't want to waste it. So then I can see that I've got a little bit of extra where my embossing buddy didn't quite get the static, or I inked the stamp too hard, but I'm just brushing off the extra pieces with a little paintbrush that I just keep in my box there. Alright, so we're just going to start up the heat gun to get it warmed up, and I'm going to pin this onto this little board here just so that I don't burn my fingers when I'm embossing. And I'm just going to hold this close to my cardstock, and you'll see it start to change, and just there it goes, it's starting to change. Now I'm just going to move the heat gun over from right to left, just like that. And that's it. And the clothespin, it just saves your fingers really from being burned by the heat gun. So let me see if I can pop all that out of the way. Yeah, that can go. Alright, we can put this card together. This is one quick and simple card. We're not going to stamp on the inside, we're going to leave it blank to for anybody to write on, write a little note or whatever they want to put. And it's a side fold card. This is going in. It's going to have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. There. On the front we've got this mat here, the birch bark mat. This one here, and we're going to put it down flat, but we're going to put it just on a slant. We'll trim if we need to. Okay, we can trim little bits off if we need to, or we could just work it so that it's just slightly on a slant, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just putting adhesive around the outside and a little bit in the middle, and it is going on here. I just want to set my card the right way up so I can see how much I'm twisting this. And it's just, I want to make sure I don't have any corners that are hanging off. Right about there. And then this piece, same thing. Just going to put adhesive on it. And I'm going to put this on a slightly different angle. Let me see. And you see it just goes right to the edge there and right to the edge there, but you can still see a bit of the birch paper behind. So now we've got the sentiment. The sentiment, you could either notch this end, but I've got a punch to do that, and it's called a Banner's Picker Punch. I don't think it's still a current punch, but it's going to work for us. It gives you two different cutouts. One is a notch and one is an arrow. We are going to use the notch, and it gives you 3 different sizes on each punch. These punches were about $25 each, and they're amazing because really you're getting 6 punches on one. So this is about 1 inch wide, I'm thinking. Might be just a little too wide, but we'll see. We'll put it in here. We're putting the end that has the words closest. We're putting that end in, and it should line up, and when we turn it over we can see where it sits. So it's going to sit about there. Let me see. And we're going to punch the end. Now that punched that much off the end. That's all it punched. Okay, so let's pull this back. I think we want it a little closer. That's a little bit too far away, so we're going to put this in again. Just slide it right back in, make sure it's lined up. I think no, not straight there. There we go. And we're going to punch it again. Now this time it just took off a little piece like that, but was it enough? Let's do it one more time. And you know, you can just trim this by hand if you wanted to. You could cut that notch out by hand if you wanted to. I'm just showing you how to do it with a punch. There, that's going to do it. So they're the pieces we've cut off. So there, we've got that. That's quite nice. It's quite close to the end of the letters, and that's where I want it. I've got lots of room at this end, so I'm taking one of my rolls of twine. This is the pecan pie, and I'm going to cut off, I don't know, maybe about 15-20 inches, something like that. I just want to have, I don't want to have this too short, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it close to the edge of my words that I embossed, and I'm going to leave a long thread. I'm going to wrap this around once, twice, 3 times. So there are my threads. This longer thread, I'm going to take it and tuck it through under the other threads like that, just so I've sort of got everything pulled together at the bottom of my sentiment. Just pulling the threads, so I'm pulling them up a little bit tight so they'll lie down. Then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to tie this in a bow. I'm going to put a little knot in there because nobody's going to see that knot anyway. Tie this in a bow like that, and I want it to turn because I want these threads to hang to the bottom. I want the bow and the threads to hang down on my card. Okay, just there. So let me lie this down and then we trim them both. Let's pull it up a little bit, it's a bit too loopy. There. And I'll trim them both. Now, because I don't want this to fall off the end of my card, I'm going to put a couple of mini dimensionals just past this, just to the right side, so that this cannot slip off. There. You see, in that when this gets stuck down to my card, this will hold the ribbon in place. I'm now going to cut this off right past, just past the dimensionals, and then I'll just use a couple of regular dimensionals. Like this, and I'll find the card. Now you see this bow can't slip off because the dimensionals are going to hold it in place, and actually I could, just a minute, move this one in just a little bit, trim an extra, maybe 1/8 of an inch off. There. This is going to go right just about there, and there it is. That's today's card, quick and simple. Let me just, while I've got these out, add a gem or two, just to finish it off. I think maybe just one. There, just one little gem to finish it off right there, and I think that's all that was needed on that card. Lovely little card, quick and simple. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, if you sell your cards, put the Stampin' Up angel stamp on, which just means all the supplies used were Stampin' Up supplies. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Bye.